All right, folks. Bright and early, we are at the usual hangout for journalists, and I am Citizen Jones. I welcome you. Now, today on the program, Shekarau receives Ganduje. Oshomole set to officially defect. No. Let me phrase it properly. Shekarau meets Ganduje and Oshomole set to officially defect to APC. Again, more APC states accept direct primaries as Shehu Sani urges Oshomole not to listen to El Rufai, and he says indirect primaries breed corruption. Oshibajo, Tinubu, Oshomole storm Oshobo for Oyetola, and later on, Air Force launches big campaign against Boko Haram in Lake Chad area, just as terror group hijacks a bus, abducts 20 passengers. And let me quickly report that I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitojo. I greet you. Jide, it's a Friday?
Yes, thank God it's Friday.
Okay, and of course we have Sam Ibemere. We expect Ayo Makinde to join us any moment now. All right then, the team is ready. I hope you are. All right then, trying to take jumping ship out of politics is more like attempting to remove a cat from mousing. Former Kano State helmsman Ibrahim Shekarau was, until the evening before the 2015 general election, an active member of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. The one-time education minister is displeased with what he terms, quote, a lack of internal democracy in the People's Democratic Party, PDP. End quote. In addition, the Malam cites the injustice by the PDP headquarters to Kano PDP members and leaders as responsible in part for his decision to quit. Malam Ibrahim Shekarau must be seen as a big catch by the Kano State APC. He's met with Governor Ganduje. To err is human, but to blame somebody else is barefaced politics. But here is a peep into what happened at the meeting in Kano State. Quickly, come with us.
It is a kind of homecoming, and since we left, I have interacted peacefully as part of our culture and tradition that we relate with every person regardless of his political opinion. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to assure you that our reunion, our coming together, will move not only Kano State forward, but Nigeria forward.
And for me, it's a rare opportunity to be able to reunite with you in your home and to have some political conversation based on body of ideas that we describe as progressives. I know for a fact from your lifestyle, from your background, from what you did as governor of Kano State, and your views on social programs, economic policy, etc., nobody in Nigeria can claim to be more progressive than Your Excellency.
Our dream has come true. Now we are together in the same political party. We are brothers. We understand ourselves. We believe in the same ideology. We believe in the same commitment, the development of our people, the development of our state. I think there is no better time to have a brother to come together and serve the people of Kano State.
Now, gentlemen, Jide, let's start like this. In politics, nothing happens by accident. No. If it appears so, know it was planned that way. Politics on display. Yeah. A big catch for the APC?
Certainly, no doubt about it. And now I'm especially happy because, not because someone moved into APC, but because at some point, when we carried this story and we debated the matter of Shekarau moving to the APC a couple of days back, and it was reported that Shekarau had debunked the news item and denounced his aide. I was taken aback, and you know on Facebook, people will go there, oh, he goofed, go and apologize on TV. And I said yesterday that no, he will still join the APC. Because
whether or whether.
I knew that he would still join the APC. And they continue to attack me. That instead of apologizing, didn't you watch the other channel? They brought him, they did this. I knew that this man would still join the APC. Look, the fact is, the offers made to him, it would take a politician who does not want his own progress to reject the offers made to him. Because the Kwankwaso leaving the APC opened opportunities. Kwankwaso's loyalist, the deputy governor of Kano State, also resigned, which is a good opportunity for Ganduje to say, oh, Malam, we are going to give you the deputy governorship slot. Fill it. Malam, we are going to allow you to go to the Senate to replace Kwankwaso. So, and then we will also give you House of Assembly slots so that you can use that to please your supporters who will join you. Look, if Shekarau, after all that, says, oh, I'm not going, he will face rebellion from even his own supporters. Because people like Take, who had wanted to be governor of Kano State, who had contested in the past and lost, is an opportunity for Take now to become deputy governor. And if Take does well, remains loyal to Ganduje, chances are that there will be that seamless transition that will enable Take to become the next governor of Kano State. So you can't see all of those possibilities.
Not because you are at this hangout, dishing out offices to people. No.
Because I'm privy to some of the negotiation. Okay. That is the fact. Gali Sadiq, the main spokesman of Shekarau, we worked together in Kano. He was the correspondent of FRCN. Yao Sule, my own good friend of more than 20 years, is the spokesman of Shekarau. He was press secretary to at least 2 governors in Kano while I worked there. So if people like that will call me, Jide, this is going to happen, and it turns out to be a lie, you should be able to believe them. We grow up on this profession to trust certain people. So if it gets to that point that your friend will say, look, I see this happening, and then it doesn't happen, then it becomes so bad that you can't trust anyone anymore.
Sam, as it stands, it presupposes that Malam Shekarau has jettisoned his presidential ambition. Also, it seems.
I think that is what is playing out practically. Like Jide said, the offers before him are just irresistible. What would be his chances if he decides to, run for the presidential slot? Pretty very slim. So knowing the way politicians operate, what I think is going to happen is him accepting the offer to go to the Senate. That is very feasible. I don't see him standing up to Mr. President.
Can we expand the field a little? Yeah. You had been number 1, the helmsman of a state.
Yes.
You going to the Senate. In America, I've been told about 2 senators who had been governors before now. I mean, who had been presidents.
It wouldn't be the first time. If you look at the Nigerian National Assembly, you find that it's almost like a retirement home for most of our governors. So a Shekarau wouldn't be doing something that is absolutely new.
Said, call it remand home.
I wouldn't call it that.
No, I say cynic said so, not here.
So it's like home, retirement home for most of them. So I think he's going to be headed that way. I think he's going to accept that offer to fill the vacuum that Kwankwaso will be leaving, because it's going to be a very tough one, as should be expected.
Does that in any way, is it likely to affect Kano politics come next year?
Absolutely, yes. Because what you have at the moment is serious realignment of forces. I mean, you had somebody who was in the APC, back to PDP, from PDP back to APC. So there is a frantic shuffle, in the political space. So definitely, you see a lot. You're going to see a lot of pushing and shoving, because everybody wants to get into, a very privileged position to be able to reap from the politics of it all.
All right, Jide, in taking this home, so you are saying next year is the big picture, and so you must work to get there. Shekarau, big fish?
Certainly. I've said before that the politics of Kano is like a tripod. Ibrahim, Shekarau, Kwankwaso, and then President Buhari.
Okay.
Those are the three most popular, most famous politicians alive in Kano. So now we have a situation in which two of them are on one side now. Two of them on one side. And that gives the initiative to the ruling party. Because to have Kwankwaso, to have Ganduje, President Buhari, and Shekarau on the same side,
is a big deal.
It's formidable.
All right.
Formidable.
Okay, we'll leave it there, but then you may continue with the debate. Winston Churchill, you know him, he said, in war you are killed once, in politics you are killed many times. I think politicians know how to survive the game. Okay, the argument for the indirect primary system at elections appears to be weakening by the day, and therefore to be thrown overboard. We can report that more state chapters of the APC have opted for the direct primary method of selecting candidates for elective positions. Kaduna Central Senator Shehu Sani, an avid apostle of the direct primary regime, has petitioned the APC National Chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, on the imperative of adopting the system in picking candidates for elections. To him, the indirect primary system is a factory for producing stooges and a labor room of sorts. Let's take you to Kaduna and share how it panned out with you.
In line with the directives of the National Executive Committee, sat today, Thursday, 6 September 2018, and adopted the indirect primary due to the following reason. Absence of a comprehensive register of party members. The APC Kaduna Party leadership has made spirited attempts to acquire a comprehensive database of party members from the party national headquarters, but to no avail.
Indirect primaries is simply about fear of the people. You don't want to subject yourself to the people. APC cannot change the political landscape of Nigeria by adopting a system of cash and carry.
The safest thing, the best thing, the fairest thing is for us to throw this thing open. If you are not afraid of the people that you are aspiring to represent, subject yourself to election by them.
Okay then, Jide, antagonists of the direct primary system, we are told, are not sure of getting their tickets.
Yes.
So is the fear a morbid one?
It's not just a cowardly decision that they've taken. It is a decision taken with the intention to commit evil. Now, there are in states, just look at states where they have opted for indirect primaries. They will tell you, oh, insecurity, they will tell you lack of funds, they will give all kinds of reasons. But there are big political players that they see as threats in those states. So those governors will not, who have made up their minds to simply impose candidates on the people.
Yeah.
They don't want direct primaries.
Especially those of them who are running out their second terms.
Yes, those going into their second term. Some of them are first-term governors. They are seeking a second term. They think that some of those candidates will give them a run for their money. And there are also people who have issues with some big politicians in the state. Politicians who can also make things happen, just like governors. And they want to shut out those politicians. If you see a state like Yobe, for example, the biggest politician in Yobe State is Bukaba Ibrahim.
Okay, now senator.
Now senator.
Former governor.
Yes, he's been governor for more years than any Nigerian governor.
Really?
Yes.
From the calculation?
Yes, you know, from the Babangida years he was governor.
Okay.
He's been governors for more years than anybody. Now, he's a senator, a serving senator. He's a statesman, elder statesman in his own right. Even his wife was in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
Now, you have a situation in which you want to do primaries and you do not extend the invitation to someone like that. It's because you want to shut him out. And there has been this running battle between him and the sitting governor. You look at a state, that's Yobe. Now, you look at, and not only that, there are aspirants for the position of governor that you also, by this idea of not inviting people to your so-called stakeholders meeting, you also shut them out. That means you think that those people constitute a threat to the person that you want to impose on the people. Now, you move away from that. You look at a state like Kaduna, where we have Shehu Sani and the rest of them. The governor has had occasions in the past to even swear against Shehu Sani. You know, some of the governor's supporters abuse Shehu Sani publicly. One even said he wanted his hair, that if we can bring Shehu Sani's hair, that he will pay some millions. Now, the governor has not forgiven Shehu Sani for joining other senators in shooting down the effort by Kaduna State to secure a loan. And for that reason, he will go for indirect primaries, because with the indirect primaries, it is completely taken off Shewu's hands.
Okay,
if you throw it
rug
open, yes, because
feet.
he will not have access to those delegates, because the structures of the party are in the hands of the governor, and the congresses and the what was it called, that were held some months back. You know, some governors deliberately shut out their political enemies in their state so that they will have exclusive access to delegates. And if you do not control delegates, you cannot win any election that's going to any indirect primary. That's no way you can win. And then you go to even a state like Ondo, for example. You have a situation in which there are senators who have issues with the governor. They don't see eye to eye. The governor will not want direct primaries because it will throw the field open to those people. And some of them, against his wish, for them to have tickets, some of them will get tickets. So just go, or if there is a governor who wants to impose maybe his own boy or something, he knows that other politicians in the state are more popular than the person that he wants to impose. It is only in direct primaries that can give him opportunity. I mean, let him have his way. So they know what they are doing. The direct primary is the most participatory of all. It puts power in your hands. If you are a Kakari member of your party, you are an elector. You are simply an elector. But when you come to delegates, the delegate model,
anything goes.
Yes, it's just their own favored people. Who are, in some cases, you won't even know whether you are a delegate or not.
Some, both antagonists and protagonists of this system, direct primary, would tell you the party, APC, has the two options in its books. So what can be wrong with going the other way? In spite of the fine arguments for the direct primary.
Sincerely, I think that when the issue of what form of process should be adopted for the primaries came up, the party even spoke, tongue-in-cheek, as far as I'm concerned. Initially, what we're told was that the process, for choosing the presidential candidate was going to be indirect, and then the rest of it direct, and then the NEC came out and said something, different. So
the governors who spoke lied against the party, because the party now came out to say that was not the decision.
No, but Jide, that tells you that even within that system, there were very serious dissensions. You understand? I mean, if they were united on the common cause, you wouldn't have had a situation where a group says, no, it's going to be this process, the delegate process, the indirect process, and then the other option of it. So it was clear from the beginning, as far as I'm concerned, that there was very serious politics, going on. Like you rightly argued, the state governors, most of them, felt sufficiently threatened and wanted to deploy systems or processes that would aid, them retaining authority and power and control of the party. So it wasn't completely unexpected. So for me, the party itself had difficulties on how to manage, and they knew that whatever options that they took was going to raise very serious concerns. And that's what we're seeing now.
It raises the question of internal democracy, and applies to almost every party.
Yes, because even the governors that seem to have adopted a different approach from what the leadership of the party is talking about are alleging imposition. They're alleging imposition. So how do you draw the boundaries, as far as internal democracy is concerned?
Position before the exercise?
No. You see, the issue is like you have rightly argued here. It's about interests. The governors who are in control in the states want to adopt and implement a process that is going to be comfortable for them. And that is what you see playing out. In fact, when you spoke about Yobe, it reminded me of what played out. We were told, or I read, that Gedam has just been granted the sole right to pick the candidate. And then that it looks more like comedy to me. In Ogun State, you had a station where the governor, simply went to one of the senatorial zones and settled for a candidate.
But by the same token, the governor there in Ogun is talking about a consensus candidate.
Exactly. So, you have two states.
The party allows,
and some other states are also
allows for you to pick. To opt for consensus. It's within. It's among. It's in the constitution that you can actually
you
go
are
for
dealing
consensus.
many cards at the same time.
Yeah, so you see, the thing is, where did this whole thing begin?
Let's square up to Yakub. He's here in Lagos. Yakub, I welcome you.
Yeah, this is good evening, sir.
Yep.
Good evening, sir. Mr. Olajide.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's Sam Ibemere here. Ibemere.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
It is unfortunate that some governors that thought that they did very well in their state, they are still afraid of being losing. If you are a governor, you believe that you are a man of the masses, why are you afraid of direct primary? I want to use this opportunity to tell Adam Toshomole, the chairman of Progressive Congress, to look into that petition that wrote by Shekarau, because you cannot say that you want to go into indirect primary where you know that there's some senator you don't like their faces. That is the truth. The truth must be said here. In Kaduna, if in fact in your former state, Mr. Babajide, this happened in that state.
Yes.
Because those people, they believe that they will lose out. As a governor, if you do very well, what are you afraid of? Go to direct primary. Let's see.
Yeah, Yakub, and governor doing very well in any given state is a matter of definition. Thank you for your call. Jide, so is it possible to look at some merits or demerits of the direct primary system? Is it a cure-all system?
No, the thing is, there is no system that hasn't got its drawbacks. But it is the most participatory of all systems.
It's open.
Yes, because it puts power in the hands of the voter.
Are you saying there's no way of influencing the electors at that point? When,
No,
when it is clear on election day, they still contrive these things.
No, but let's look at it this way. How many people can you influence? The presidential primaries, for example, will be direct primaries. Everybody agrees on that one. It's in the states where the governors feel threatened that they don't want indirect primaries, direct primaries to happen. How many people will you bribe to vote for Buhari? How many? How many people will you bribe because all the people will come out to vote in all the constituencies?
At the same time?
Yes. Yeah. So if you have, like Imo, for example, they have more than 300 wards. So in such a situation, how many polling centers will you go to be sharing money to people? The quantum of money that they spend, that's why delegates are usually not so many. But the kind of money that they spend on delegates, we've seen delegates being given $10,000.
Besides, it's a party thing, not a general thing.
Yes, it's a party thing. But you bribe heavily. You spend so much money. Candidates will go and bring...
In the indirect system.
Yes. Yeah. Candidates will go and bring delegates from different parts. If, for example, you are a candidate for a senatorial seat, from all the wards, the communities that make up your senatorial zone, you will go and bring in people to the point where the contest will take place.
House them, feed them.
Feed them, you know, clothe them in some cases, deny them access to their phones so that someone else will not bribe them. But you still find a way that people will take, in some cases, more than 200,000. Primaries at state level, more than 200,000 per delegate. In spite of that, you still find some delegates not voting for the candidate that bribed them, voting for someone else. So they come back from Abuja and all of these places. Some of them will go and set up filling stations. Some of them will buy cars. Because it is the corruption that goes with it is easier. In fact, it's easier imagined. So, and that's why the president said that I can't understand why someone will call himself a Democrat, but he doesn't want direct primary. Because it allows you to interface with the ordinary voter. If you have worked for them, if you have nothing to hide, if you have nothing to fear, why don't you want the people to participate in this exercise? You just want it for a few people. So the truth is, the mistake, I talked about the mistake that the party leadership made then, to allow those governors to go and address people, because the governors simply lied to the people. The decision of the party was now officially communicated by
had to do with the neck.
Yes, about the decision of the NWC, they communicated a different thing to the people. That was where Nigerians got wrong.
Let me quickly take Jibril. You're reaching us from Niger State. Welcome. Hello, Jibril.
Good evening, sir.
I greet you, sir.
How are you, sir? Good evening.
We are fine here.
My regards to your panel here.
Yep, thank you.
Especially our man of the day.
Oh, yep.
So my little contribution is very simple. So it's not all about even my governor in Niger State here. He doesn't perform. But despite the fact he has adopted direct primary.
Yes.
But I don't know how he's going to go about it. You understand? Because actually we in Niger State here, we cannot see anything tangible that this man has put in place as a sitting governor of this Niger State.
All right,
but the people will decide.
That's in your estimation.
The people will decide.
I'm watching.
Jibril, you are not the people, but
the people will decide.
That's in your estimation. But thank you for calling. Sam, you talk about risks in politics. To him, his governor is not performing. So if you put it in this chain we are looking at, if you are not performing, then the fear of a direct primary will be there. So is his risk of towing the line, going for the direct primary, is it a calculated one?
Who among the governors are we talking about here?
Niger, Jibril just said...
Niger State.
Yeah. Niger has adopted, has elected to go the direct primary.
Yes. Yeah. I deliberately asked that question.
Okay.
Because I was going to say that for those of us on the outside, it's difficult to appreciate what goes on within the parties. We sit down here and talk about this and that, but we must appreciate that politics is a contest for power. Those on the inside will do just about anything to ensure that they are on the driving seat. The man in Niger, who in his estimation has done very well, but wants to go the direct primaries way, must have done his calculations. He's no fool.
And groundwork.
He's no fool.
So it's not, sometimes the popular statement is, in politics, stupidity is not a handicap.
Okay.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah, and that helps advance my argument, which is that you don't want to let go of power, because that's what gives you control. So I don't want to agree with him completely that he must making a mistake by going the direct primaries, adopting the direct primaries option. So I think for him,
he obviously has a little something up his sleeves.
Oh, is the directive of the party?
No. See,
frankly, it's the directive of the party. What the party now said is...
Jude, I have a concern here. Excuse me, if you don't mind.
Let me make my point, please. What the party now said is, for states that want to do indirect, call stakeholders meeting, made up of the ESCO members of your state and other critical stakeholders, and then you must agree. Now the party has decided that if after the indirect primaries, there are complaints by any of the contestants, then the direct primaries will be cancelled. I mean, the indirect primaries will be cancelled, and they will revert to. So, which means that because what we are seeing is from across those states where the indirect primaries have been adopted, people are saying they were not carried along and all that. Now, the party has said, if there are complaints from people who were part of the process, that they were shortchanged or in any way, then we will cancel the process and then do direct. So, at the end of the day, these guys may still not have their way if the party decides to take that decision.
Let's leave it there, but then we have provoked the debate, let it go on. But I'm rather worried, and I imagine we all are, to have politicians in Nigeria becoming or remaining full-time politicians. Now, still to come, Vice President Oshibajo, National Leader of the APC, Senator Tinubu, National Chairman Oshomole, storm Osogbo for the candidate Oyetola. Will be back. Please stay. All right, then. The campaign trail is ordinarily a spectacle to behold, with the attendant colors and extravaganza in tow. Only the soapbox sophistry of yore is missing. The APC campaign train, comprising Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, National Leader Senator Bola Tinubu, National Chairman Adams Oshomole, and other heavyweights, stormed Osogbo for the party's governorship candidate Gboyega Oyetola. The September 22nd governorship poll is expected to be a high-wire three-horse race involving Senators Ademola Adeleke of PDP, Iola Oimishure of SDP, and of course, APC's Gboyega Oyetola. On campaign grounds, you balance competing interests while you look for solutions, Jide.
Yes. I like to read out what Oshomole said. Oshomole is really an orator, a man with an eye for the spoken word. He said, "We are not presenting an apprentice to you, but a trusted man, and we ask you to vote for him." So he was talking about the qualities of Oyetola. People who know so much about the inner workings of Osun State government would testify that he is the brain box of the administration. In fact, the whole recalibration of the finances of the state in a manner that ensured that Aregbesola could do so much in a season of paucity of funds. This guy was the one who made it happen, and is popular with the workers because what he has done.
think he is a product of a direct primary.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a product of the first time that they tried it, since the option A4 days. They tried it and it worked. Many people did, and they didn't have enough time to even prepare for it. They had barely 3 days, and it was successful. The turnout was huge. If you have support across board in all parts of a state, you will be excited to take part in direct primary because you know wherever the election is held, you have your people. So going back to Oyetola, they are convinced that he's the man for the job. Yeah, Aregbesola has done well in that state, no matter the difficulties that they faced with paying salaries and all that. When you go to Osun State, you see infrastructure on ground. Many people have complained that he placed infrastructure ahead of the welfare of workers.
Yeah.
But one thing that you cannot fault Aregbesola about is the quantum of projects that will outlast him.
Especially the schools.
Yes,
the schools,
the schools are beautiful. It's only in South Africa, on this continent, I've seen schools as beautiful as the ones that I saw in Osun State. Not even in Lagos do I see such schools.
But they say Peking go chop before you go school. That's by the way. Sam, I talked about soapbox oratory, which was a factor in years gone by. It is no longer there. That's sophistry.
Well, you still have bits of it here and there. I mean, you want to recall the days of Mbadiwe, Z, Kawolowo, and the rest of them. These were great men.
In Jide's Yoruba country, it was Mbadiwe, Azikiwe, Onwudiwe, and so on.
So, but...
what was the name of that VC? Unila VC again?
Okay, we have a call from Lagos.
Njoku.
No, Ibadan. Eni Njoku. Yeah, sorry, Warid is here. Yeah, welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Swag Nawab.
I greet you.
I greet you. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I just want to commend Jide and the other guys on Jones. I've been following the program right from Canada. I'm based in Canada, in Western Canada. This program is really, really interesting. Just commend the effort of the guys. And also, they are talking about the direct primary, which is very, very commendable. Yeah, it brings about transparency.
Now we are talking Osun State. If you please come with us. We're taking us to Osun State now. The first state that concretized the direct primary gambit, and it worked. You know, so the candidate for that state is Oyetola of the APC, going against Iyola Omisore and Adeleke. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yep. So, okay. Yeah, so Sam.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about sophistry. And
sophistry at the soapbox. It starts from there.
Yeah,
elocution, you know.
Absolutely. And, you know, we just made
sorry, I'm sorry. I brought this up because in the build-up, in the run-up to the Ekiti election, we hardly heard the PDP candidate. The incumbent governor was the voice of...
the candidate.
Of the candidate. Am I making sense to you here?
Yes, you are. In Osun, I believe that we have 3 candidates who have become quite visible, very visible. I mean, you would know the dancing senator.
Come on.
Each time he takes the soapbox, of course, you can be sure that he's going to whip up, emotions and all that. Oyetola, of course, we all know. And Omishore, of course, I also watched him on the soapbox yesterday, and they had Obesere by the side drumming for him and all that. So I think that our politics, has been shaped by stuff like that, where politicians know that one way to win is to make promises. Whether those promises are going to be accomplished or achievable is a different matter. But people want to hear those grand, promises. So yes, it's important that we talk about these things. But in the case of the APC candidate, Oyetola, I think he has everything going for him. He's a pretty lucky guy. I mean, he belongs to the ruling party. He also has the full support of Ogbeni Arigbeshola, who is more like a godfather. And of course, his emergence as the party's candidate, rancor-free, very popular and all that.
Over and above everything else, is the governor is voted into office. Being his own man becomes the next palaver.
Oh, absolutely. But again, that could also work against him. I mean, we have had situations where people feel, oh, this man, because he's coming from the incumbent governor, could become a stooge. Some have argued that worked against the man in Ekiti. So he has to be very careful not to celebrate too early. Pretty very important. There's work to be done. And that work will begin with the kind of promises that he makes. He has to make promises that are achievable. He has to share his vision. Those visions and missions have to be very concrete. So these things are very important. So beyond the soapbox, beyond what you say to the people, it's important that they are believable and achievable.
Jide, otherwise, the big heavyweights, at the campaign will amount to nothing if at the end of the day, the man becomes a featherweight in office.
Yeah, I'm confident that this fellow won't be featherweight because at least I know a bit about him and I know the people around him. And he was reluctant, but the people who know the qualities deposited in him succeeded in convincing him to throw his hat in the ring. And I'm confident that if he wins the election, he will be a good governor. I'm confident. With the people around him, I do not see him failing.
Okay. That's it. Again, the debate, let's help it continue. But you remember, the country is controlled by laws. Laws are made by politicians. Politicians are thrown up by votes. Votes are controlled by politicians. So it's a cul-de-sac. It's a very interesting cycle.
Vicious cycle, you say.
Very, very interesting cycle. Vicious or otherwise. All right, to this now, the Sambisa Forest and the Lake Chad area had remained a safe haven for splinters of Boko Haram insurgents for a while now. The Nigerian Air Force has taken war to them in the two areas, Operation Rwanda 4. I hope this is right.
So that's right. Is that what?
Is the code name for the offensive, whose chief mission is to destroy Boko Haram's logistics base, cut their movement, and provide support for ground troops. Meanwhile, the terrorists hijacked a commercial bus, abducting some 20 passengers in the process in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. This is one daring, too many.
Yes, but the good news is that the soldiers have succeeded in rescuing the abducted persons.
Okay. I must have missed that one.
Yeah. No, it just happened. Now, the big effort to take control of the Lake Chad, the islands of the Lake Chad, where the Musab al-Banawi faction is based. You know, when they tell you there's no Nigerian territory in the hands of Boko Haram, I always say it's a lie from the feet of hell. And I came on this program and listed communities that Boko Haram are firmly in control of. Those communities are in the Lake Chad area, the communities I mentioned then.
Okay.
Now, the Air Force acutely aware that those guys are in that area, they have now decided that it's about time that they got flushed out of that area. Because of the marshy terrain, it's extremely difficult for ground troops to launch a major operation in that area. And on some occasions when we tried to launch a big campaign, we lost many soldiers. So now the Air Force will help soften up these guys sufficiently before we bring in soldiers who had been trained in amphibious battles. You know, the other day the Chief of Army Staff commissioned some soldiers who had been trained in Jaji about amphibious assault, designed to take out Boko Haram in the Lake Chad Islands.
But you know, as a neophyte myself, I'm not an expert in these things, but I'm saying if there's an offensive and there's a ploy, don't reveal it. Get the job going.
Yes.
You know, it's become a character. You know, it's a
the
character.
army, unfortunately, politicians have found a way to kind of even redirect the way the military does things. This is a political era. If the military makes gains on the war front, politicians take credit. So these days,
make losses?
If they make losses, politicians keep quiet. Now, these days, what they want the army to record successes, and they want those successes to be announced so that you can praise the politicians that under their leadership, these things are happening. You know? So that's why you see that these days, what ordinarily the military does not need to announce, they want to show people that, yes, there is insecurity, these boys are they are killing our people, but we want to move against them, we want you to know. And then sometimes too, when they make this announcement, they want civilians in some of those areas to move out, so that the full-scale operation would not be hindered in any form.
Yeah.
Well, you see, as we've said, the Musab al-Banawi faction, they also call them the Mama Nur faction because Mama Nur is the real leader of the group. But ISIS installed Mohammed Yusuf's son as the leader of the group
that's the original
in August
brain.
2016.
Yeah.
Yes, but the real leader, the old man who heads the group, is called Mama Nur. He used to be a politician in Borno State. So now...
Today is a rebel.
Yes, and they go after, it's just the military that they kill. They rarely kill civilians. They, unlike Shekarau's group, it's the military that they attack. Some of the bloodiest attacks that we've had in recent times were carried out by that group. So, and where they are largely inaccessible. Yeah. So this is why I think they just want to find a way, destroy these guys once and for all, so that you will be able to say there is nowhere in Nigeria where Boko Haram can say that they are complete control.
This is without ignoring the fact that you have cells here, there, and there, and there. But Sam, you look at the fifth columnists within the military too. You know, when you make gains here and losses here, how do you aggregate what we're doing, the war, you know? We can only hope that in taking this option, the military general, that's the Nigerian military, will get its onions right.
Citizen, that has been of absolute concern, the issue of fifth columnist. In fact, it's been alleged that some people within the civilian
population,
let me put it this way, within the political and military class, really don't want this war to end.
Oh yeah.
Because
for goodness knows,
yeah, for some,
goodness knows why.
Yeah, for some gains, of course, material gains, of course. So you're absolutely right when you talk about fifth columnists. There are those who are benefiting from this entire pogrom, and they don't want it to end. So it's a major concern, and that's
in a way.
Oh yes, you can describe it that way. But the challenge here is, how do you begin to, lay hands on them? Do they exist? Yes. And Nigeria wouldn't be an exception. It happens all over the world. I mean, you have arms dealers. Yeah. I mean, they make money through sale of arms. You want to keep them out of the Northeast crisis? It's not just possible. You see, but my concern as a citizen is, are we going to forever, rely on the military option as a way of settling scores?
Alone. The military option alone.
Yeah, that's my concern. And I ask myself, if we at some point have had cause to dialogue with these so-called rebels, and we have had intermediaries through whom we can work to get talking, is it not possible that this option could be explored? Or is it that these options are being explored, but we don't know?
Somebody West will be quick to tell you, if you dialogue with terrorists, we are expanding the field.
No, it's not. The Shekarau group is not interested in dialogue with Nigeria. And he said that a number of times. His own goal is to set up an Islamic state within the Nigerian state.
A caliphate.
A caliphate within
whatever that means.
So, and because this thing is the foundation of this whole thing is ideology. To convince him that, look, 13th century strain of Islam that you want to bring to Nigeria cannot work.
In a 21st century world.
Is an exercise in futility. So you just have to continue your fight with him. Maybe with the other group, if we make more efforts, maybe we can
so we talk about
make a headway
de-radicalization and all that. De-radicalization?
No, even trying to reach some agreement with them. The other group, they are more likely to...
Pliable.
Yes, they are more pliable. They are more likely to agree to some form of compromise. But the Shekarau group, which is the bigger group, will not agree to that.
Sorry, Sam and Jide, Pius is here from Kaduna State. I greet you, Pius. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Welcome.
It is John.
Yep.
Good evening, Baba Jide.
Good evening, Pius.
Thank you. And the other...
And Sam.
Yes.
Good evening.
This problem of insurgency in the Northeast, I don't know when it is going to come to an end. It's like there is a conspiracy theory in the whole of this thing that is going on in the Northeast. Some people don't want this thing to come to an end because up to this moment, we have never had anywhere that the sponsors of this Boko Haram are been brought to prove. And nobody would tell me that nobody knows anything pertaining the sponsor of this Boko Haram. And the weapon that they are using, so most of the weapons is the one that they have been carried away from our own security personnel. But there are some that we got them from the outside the country. Why can't they pursue and follow this thing to see where they are getting their weapons from? So please, I would like to urge the Nigerian government to dig deep and get to the root of this Boko Haram.
Pius, thank you very kindly. Sam, let's take it home now. So it started from like a child's play, and today we are dealing with a Frankenstein.
Yes.
A monster does not destroy itself. A monster is never killed, it destroys itself.
That is why I think that what ought to be done and must be done would be to see beyond our immediate strategy of trying to eliminate Boko Haram just by fighting, the traditional war.
Yeah.
That's my concern. I think there are options that should be explored. We shouldn't throw our hands in the air and say, okay, fine. I mean, these guys don't want any form of peace, so we should just go ahead and continue to fight.
Thank you, Sam. Jide, the backroom boys are asking us to bury it in 30 seconds, if we can.
Yes. If the enemy is not ready to negotiate, then we'll crush them. That is what the Algerians did. The Algerians, in 1992, they always say you cannot defeat a terrorist group, but it's a lie. The Algerians did it in 1992. Sri Lanka did it. They crushed Tamil Tigers.
Okay.
Because Tamil Tigers would not negotiate with the government of the day. So I believe that if we equip our military sufficiently,
Yeah.
and we boost their morale because we really don't care so much about their welfare.
Yeah.
Victory will come.
All right, again, our job is done. Ours is to provoke the debates and keep you talking and allow you to make up your minds. But let's thank Sam Ibemere for coming.
Well, it's my pleasure.
This table says, go enjoy your weekend, send the bills to them, you know. And Babaji,
today you are going nowhere.
Oh, no, I agree. I defer to you. Okay.
Because you've been doing this for weeks. But today you are going nowhere.
No, it's all right, it's all right.
Our Steve can be witness.
Okay then, so that's it. But if you did miss this one, watch Journalists Hangout on other platforms showing on your screen now and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel is the same. I remain Citizen Jones Osun. Bye-bye now. Take care.